In all honesty, I've never actually been aware of my gender. I have always just been Nichola. And I was never brought up to be aware that I was a female, and because I was a female, there were certain stereotypical roles or anything like that. So my gender was never really part of my identity until I really became a counsellor, and some of the other counsellors would refer to me as that wee girl. And at the start, I was a wee bit taken aback by this, and then I started to feel a bit aggrieved by it. And then when I became Lord Mayor, my gender hit home really strongly. So at the very beginning, when my husband and I would go to some events, even though I was wearing the chain, they would look past me to Brendan and be like, "Hello, Lord Mayor." And then he would be like, "No, no, yeah, it's her, it's her." And one of the first questions I was always asked was, "Are you married? Do you have children?" And an awful lot of interest in my public appearance. So what I was wearing, where I'd maybe got the dress that I was wearing, where I went and got my hair done, and all of those things, I felt, people weren't being malicious. They were just genuinely interested. But in the same sense, those questions were never asked of a male when he was Lord Mayor. And what really brought it home to me was when the Queen came. And so I hosted her for lunch in City Hall, which was a huge deal. And I had written my own speech and had sent it over to Buckingham Palace, and we were told the Queen wasn't going to speak on that occasion. But long story short, she decided that she would respond. And so I quoted her grandfather, and she quoted her grandfather back to me. And one newspaper here didn't even mention that I spoke, just did a piece on the dress that I was wearing and actually sourced it from the shop that I'd got it in. And that really annoyed me because it overlooked the fact that you had a young, confident female with an older female like the Queen that were making public speeches to each other, and it was just all about what I was wearing. So it just airbrushed me out of it, and it was almost like I was a clothes horse. And I really felt very aggrieved by that, I have to say. And that's something that stuck with me. And I had a wonderful experience as Lord Mayor. I absolutely loved it. But it just hit me like a ton of bricks that in no way would that have ever happened if it had been a man in the role. It never would have happened.